Thanks everybody so much for being a part of our 4th annual Beginning Again retreat. Danielle is going to help us rebuild financially. So Danielle, help us.
Yeah, so we're taking now a transition. That was a great discussion by Linda of talking about like how to manage the state and how to start that progression of documents. Now we're focusing on the financial health aspect. As Linda talked about, like going to see an estate attorney to start those paperworks. Also realizing that, caregiving is a lot. And ending caregiving, you may feel, if you're the executor, which is most likely for many of us as caregivers, you may feel like it may not be beneficial to your health to be the executor. Know that there are other routes of hiring professionals to do it so that you don't feel ever obligated to fulfill those roles. So a little bit about me. I was a former sandwich generation caregiver. I'm going through this process just like you guys are. My loved one passed away on September 27th. So this is very fresh and new for me. Originally, when I asked Denise to be part of this presentation, I did not expect to be in these shoes. I was working with other family caregivers who had experienced this, and based on those experiences, I was planning to present today. But now I am feeling all the cycles of emotions, like many of you are. Many of my clients say that as they're transitioning out of their family caregiving stage, they're rebuilding their savings, they're managing an inheritance or an estate, they're shifting their goals and identity, and they're trying to find time for grieving and self-care. If you wouldn't mind just giving me a raise of hands if you feel this way, or like an emoji if you feel one of these feelings. Okay, so it seems like Christine, you have experienced some of these feelings. Thank you for sharing. So this presentation is all about you guys. I want to get the most benefit to you. In this presentation, I'll be giving you general financial tips and tricks. Just like a lot of other industries, some of the specific details may be specific to your situation. These are more just general tips to help you get back on track financially and take care of your health. So just as Denise did a lovely presentation on discovering your new identity, I always start with talking about your new financial goals. And so I'm happiest when blank. I've always wanted to do blank. You may also get these ideas from maybe some of the experiences you had with caregiving. My ideal life would not be to be reliant on a family member to take care of me. Or my ideal life would be making sure my documents are all organized so I don't have to go through the clutter of documents like I did with my loved ones. So pull from your experience so that you can create your ideal life moving forward. Would anybody in the chat like to respond to one of these? Thank you, Beth. I saw all the above. Does anybody want to respond? If not, I'll move forward. Denise wants to travel throughout Europe. So that seems like a lot of fun. Where specifically, Denise?
Everywhere.
You're happiest.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
I think it would be fun too to have like a couple months or you can really plan this expansive trip. I think that would be really fun.
So that's what's great about rediscovering your new financial goals is you may want to plan that trip that you've always wanted to do, that Europe trip. And, how can you plan financially to meet those goals? I see someone. Oh, Pamela said that she, traveling is definitely something that she would like to do. That's great. Christina's saying she's happy when she traveled and she hasn't been able to. Yeah, so that's also neat thing about creating your identity is you can look back before your caregiving journey started and think, what would have wanted, what did I enjoy then, and what do I want to do now? Which is kind of like the exciting, adventurous part of creating your new goals, but also can be very scary because it's like, what's next? So, as I said, we're protecting our financial health. So that starts with analyzing our spending. Again, these are just general tips. Yours may be a little bit more specific. So for me, it would be checking unnecessary expenses. When my loved one passed away, I had a lot of Amazon subscriptions specifically for her. And I had to get rid of those because I didn't want to be buying dog greenies every month because I don't have a dog. So that obviously wouldn't be useful. So getting rid of some of those subscriptions, maybe ensuring that you're no longer paying for those expenses you normally would as a family caregiver. And also getting a statement from your bank on different transactions can help you watch your health. For example, if you're grieving and you're spending more by going out to eat, you may notice, multiple transactions within a week for going out to eat. So it's also important to take care of your health and ensure that those transactions reflect the healthcare regimen and self-care routine that you would like. Using budgeting apps can help you also keep track of that as well. And then keeping things separate. If you are the executor, make sure that you're keeping your finances and your loved ones separate. You may have been a little bit mixed when you were during your caregiving where you were paying for certain expenses for your loved one. As an executor, it's really important that you're keeping things separate, and you're keeping receipts for those. And then creating a help list. People may contact you and say, like, Danielle, I know it's been a really hard time for you. Is there anything that you need? And sometimes I'm like, I have no clue what I need because I'm just so overwhelmed. And so creating a little list, maybe by your nightstand of a notebook with a list of things that you need when you have an idea. For example, I don't know if it's just like there's a lot been going on, but I've been losing things. And one of those things is I lost a hairbrush. And I know it sounds simple, it's just a hairbrush. But when you have no brush to brush your hair may look a little messy. So I've been trying to find this hairbrush and I ended up buying a new one. But there's things that you may, because your just head is scatterbrained and you're grieving, you may lose things. You may find things that were missing. That's just unfortunately being realistic with yourself and understanding that may happen. I see another chat. Oh, Sharon said she lost her car keys, her house keys. Oh, and the wallet. Well, I'm sorry, Sharon, that's awful. Hopefully you found them within the same couple days or so. Yeah, I'm really having a hard time keeping track of like all documents, and my phone has been hard lately. So that may be buying one of those like key fobs that alerts you when your phone's too far away from you. Get creative and use technology to your advantage. So ways to gain money, you may be kind of at a sticky point where maybe the bank accounts are frozen, you're not able to dip into those, and maybe money might be a little bit tight. If you've worked full-time, look into your company's grievance policy, looking to see if you qualify for FMLA and the grievance benefits. Making sure you're paying yourself if you are executor. Don't change yourself. Learn about what's written in your trust and the laws within your state, because you don't want to be paying yourself pennies for the hard work that you're doing. Sell items that you're no longer using. I've sold a couple things as we've gone through my loved one's house and my house. I've sold some of my own things just because I don't use them anymore. Look for a side hustle or contract work to get you through that period of time, and know what your rights are. If your family member went through the Medicaid process and received Medicaid benefits because you were taking care of them, the government may go after their home. And so knowing your rights as a caregiver who lived in that home is important, because if they're planning to take care of the home, you may have rights to keep the home. So just know what your government rights are and rights as an executor. If you are a surviving spouse, you may have federal benefits that you may qualify for. And I'll post it in the chat, but it's also called unclaimed money. So you or your loved one may have unclaimed money. And like for my loved one, she has like $100 of unclaimed money. So you just fill out a simple form and they send you the check for the unclaimed money. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Just as we say for family caregivers, even though it's hard to sometimes rely on someone else for help, that is what you may need to get yourself through this period. So I'm just reading the chat to make sure. Yeah, so as I said, every situation is a little specific. If you're the executor and only beneficiary, you may not need to pay yourself, just making sure that you're taking care of yourself. Yeah, we did the change the locks. Beth was saying that she was suggested, their advice was to change the locks on the house. And it seems like remove items that are valuable. I love that you guys are like putting things in the chat and sharing advice, because that's what this session is all about. For those who have debt that they're trying to pay off because maybe they dipped into savings and accumulated debt during that period of time, there's two main ways to pay off debt. The first one is the snowball, which is paying the smallest bills first and accumulating to the largest. And the avalanche is paying the highest interest first and moving to the lowest interest. If you're unsure about which one to do, think about if you're a highly motivated person. If you're a person who likes to see results quickly, you may go with the snowball, which is paying your smallest credit card payments first and moving to the largest. Also depends on how high your interest rates are. If they are credit card high interest rates, you may want to do the avalanche and pay the highest interest rates first. So 1/3 of caregivers dip into their savings to cover caregiving related costs. I'm not really surprised by this statistic. I have myself had to dip into savings in order to cover caregiving related costs. But if you're a person that is trying to rebuild their savings, I would first start with an emergency fund. This is about 3 to 6 months worth of expenses that you're saving in a bank account. So for example, if you're someone who spends, let's say $2,000 a month in expenses, you would want to at least $6,000 in a separate bank account in case for emergencies. And this is also to protect yourself during a very vulnerable time where, sometimes we say, some people have this theory of like things come in threes, where it's like 3 bad things happen at once. And it might be that you're on the second and you're kind of waiting for the third, and that emergency savings may just cover that third. I hope that doesn't happen to anybody, but that may happen where it's like you have a flat tire and you need your emergency savings to cover that flat tire. And then starting with rebuilding your retirement savings, if you're someone who dipped into your retirement or if you're not someone who wants to do retirement, just wants to be financially independent, working up those savings again. And then have fun money. You're allowed to have fun money. You're allowed to travel and save for those exciting, adventurous times. Don't forget about yourself in the process. So if you're thinking about order of allocation for receiving inheritance, I'd first start with paying off high interest debt. Usually that's about 7% or higher. And then going and doing your emergency fund, as I said, the 3 to 6 months worth of savings. And then it's up to you based on your goals, but that might be paying off your mortgage, any car loans you have, or student loans that may not be considered high interest debt. And then saving 5% of the inheritance for you. You're deserving of having some little fun money for yourself. And that also helps with the grieving process. So if you're a person who's been caregiving for the last couple years and you want to make that trip, that is your fun, 5% of the inheritance to go have fun and enjoy your life just like your loved one would want you to do. And then the last one is full of resources. There's a podcast about building your resume, rebuilding a lot of the tips that I explained today will be in my blog, Rebuilding Your Life After Caregiving Ends. And then I also did an interview with CNBC about what do you do with money you've inherited. If you have any specific financial questions, please email me. I have my email below. Just a warning that I am going through the grieving process just like you guys, so I may not respond right away, but I'm happy to help. Does anybody have any questions or would like me to, excuse me, that you would like me to go over more?
And if you inherited money, I'd love to know what was something you bought for yourself that brought you comfort or joy or happiness. So I did inherit money after my dad died. It was something that was incredibly important to him. It was a huge priority that he was leaving money to the kids and grandkids. And I was able to use some money to buy new clothes and new shoes. And it was fabulous. It was a fabulous experience. And whenever I put
And the
on,
beauty about that is that you were able to say, like, these are the things I bought with the money, and this is
yes,
what I'm going to remember them
yes.
buying.
And I thank my parents every time I put on a pair of shoes or something, a piece of clothing.
Like, this is time to celebrate yourself as a family caregiver, what you went through, the accomplishments that you made, and rebuild your life and find your happiness.
During the last year of my mom's life, she really was losing weight. And my mom was someone who really enjoyed looking good and she loved clothes. So we struggled to find a good fit for her in terms of pants and tops. We would find something, she'd lose more weight. And then it was back to how can we help her look good? So my sister decided to try Stitch Fix. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Stitch Fix or tried it. You get a wardrobe in a box, in essence. And her first Stitch Fix was a huge success. My mom loved it. And so she was able to wear this beautiful outfit in May. And she died in August. And so her next Stitch Fix arrived when she was dying. So you can set up a regular schedule. For her, we put quarterly. So her next Stitch Fix arrived when she was dying. And my sister said, "You will not believe what came in the mail today." We decided, what should we do about this? And we decided to just open up the box with my mom while she was in her hospital bed and show her her new Stitch Fix, knowing that she wasn't going to be able to wear the clothes. And she loved it. She was so happy to see what arrived. We pulled out every item. She looked at it and said, "That's so cute. I love that. Who could we give that to?" So then she was able to give those clothes to my sister and my niece. And so that is part of the inheritance, and buying clothes was something that I thought my mom would love this. She would love to see the new clothes.
Denise, I sent my slideshow over to Denise. Denise, will the slideshow be sent over to everyone at the end?
Yep. So when we post the archive on Wednesday, we'll include a link to the PowerPoints. Everybody will get a PowerPoint. Yep. I'm curious if
Well, thank
anybody,
you.
oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for having me, and I wish you all well and in your financial journey as well as your grieving journey. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording while I think of that. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you so much.